Namaste and welcome to another episode of Waking Up with Jessica. If you haven't already subscribed, please make sure you subscribe. A lot of you watch the channel but don't subscribe, so please subscribe because that really does help the algorithm, and that's very important these days. With that being said, we are going to be waking up with an award-winning director, writer, actor, and my former acting coach, Anthony Meindl.
Namaste, as they say in India. I just got back from India.
Amazing.
I'm wearing my beads, actually. Can you
I
see?
see
Yeah.
that.
So
I'm
okay.
wearing my own.
Oh, whoa. Oh, nice.
Well, welcome to Waking Up with
Thank
Jessica.
you. We were just talking about we had a lot of coffee, so we're
We're a little bit wired. I'm like, I have to be confined to this chair
I know.
for
I'm
an
really
hour.
like I want to roll around on the couch.
Well, thanks so much for
Hi.
agreeing to come on my show.
Of course.
You're a very busy man.
Go on.
All over the world. Globetrotter.
I do
thought I was a
travel a lot.
globetrotter. You are a globetrotter.
Well, we both have a mutual love for travel and different cultures and meeting people and immersing in. Yeah, it's really great to visit other places, right? And get out of one's own mindset of what life is.
Exactly.
Or what we're habituated to seeing, right?
Absolutely.
Also, I think there's a lot of brain research that shows that when you travel someplace, because it's new, your brain creates new neural grooves for you to see not only your surroundings, but your own life in a different perspective. So I'm always advocating travel. You don't have to go to India, but you could just, take a bike ride somewhere.
Yeah.
They also, they even say, sorry, I'm just going into it, Jess.
No, I
It's
love it, please.
But they even say, it can be as simple as if you drive to work, you take the same travel path to work, you're supposed to change the way you go to work because you start to, it's all about noticing things. And as you notice things, you fire your brain to imagination in a different way.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Totally.
Because we get habituated to oh, I'm taking a left here and I go down this boulevard and I've seen the same thing. And we kind of lull ourselves into a zombified state.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'll travel to many countries in 6 months. I just got back from India and the Middle East. And then I come back and I'm like, what just happened? That was a lot of life that just happened. A lot of different perspectives, a lot of different cultures. And we here in the West think we know it all. And it's like, no, we don't. My travels actually brought me to Israel and Palestine in May.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I had no desire to go there because there's a lot going on in that
even
region.
then. Yeah.
But I was in Jordan swimming in the Dead Sea, floating in the Dead Sea.
Yeah, I think I saw photos of that.
Just
Yeah.
floating, and I could see Jerusalem straight from where I was at. I'm like, I want to go there. And it was really interesting because when I was in Jordan, I asked the hotel, how can I get to Israel? And they said, you mean Palestine? We don't know what that is. They do not recognize it at all.
Wow.
So long story short, I had to take an Uber, a taxi, and 2 buses to get to Jerusalem, which was 40 minutes away. Go through all these different checkpoints, get to Jerusalem. There's a lot going on. Couldn't find my Airbnb. I had heavy luggage. I don't travel light.
Well,
Cobblestone
look at you.
rooms. I mean, I was just like, where's my Airbnb?
Right.
There's no rickshaws like in India,
Right.
Couldn't find it. So I just told some guy in a golf cart to take me to any hotel. Get to the hotel. It was okay, doable. And I'm like, after a few days in Jerusalem, I want to go to Palestine. I really want to see how people live there. So I went to the West Bank, stayed with a local Palestinian family for a few days, and let me tell you, just really opened up my eyes to what's really been going on.
Oh, right.
And how they live and how they just want peace.
Right.
And it just really opened up my heart in so many ways. So when I hear very derogatory comments like just take them out, it's heartbreaking. I went to Hebron and there was 4 little girls and they just kept following me around, and every time I would look they would just bashfully look away.
Oh, wow.
And
Because you're so tall and beautiful.
yeah, they were
and they
like,
wanted
who
to
is
be you.
this? Where is she from?
Yeah.
Sort of like that.
In your heels, no less.
I asked my guide to asked them if I can take a picture with them, and we took a picture, and they were just so cute. And he was telling me that like their school just got demolished, and just really awful things.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, our hearts go out. Yeah,
our
that's
hearts
right.
go out to that whole region, and may there be peace.
The heart of conflict, because for me, working with actors, and it sounds like a weird example that I'm going into, but it's the truth, because acting, really good acting, is conflict, right? Because that's how stories are told.
Yeah.
But in a journey with an actor, in a scene, in a movie, in a TV show, in a play, it also leads to some sort of conflict resolution, right?
Yeah.
And I think, to me, what we keep forgetting in terms of conflict is going to happen, but the resolution aspect means coming to the table to be able to listen and to be heard and to talk.
Yeah.
And I was just sort of brokering a negotiation between a friend of mine and somebody else I know, and how they won't come to the table and talk. And I was like, this is the heart of our problems, is people have their own story and they won't listen to the other person's story, which might also be valid. I'm not trying to invalidate any experience, but coming together, right? And I just say, on the way here, like last night, I don't know, it was windy, and so I was trying to watch something, and the cable service was down. So I just started scrolling, and I spent a lot of time just errantly scrolling. And even though I am a teacher of like awareness and presence, as you know, and getting off the device, here I was myself stuck on the device and realizing like I was like burning time and then doing nothing and not feeling aspirational, inspirational, filled after the experience, actually feeling worse about myself, anxious.
Totally.
So it's so fascinating that the code built into the algorithm of social media is it's like tapping into our reptilian brain to keep us hooked on and hooked in.
Absolutely.
It's really destructive, and I feel that, but I'm also, the challenge is, how do we negotiate in this world that's more and more being influenced by something that holds our attention, but not with something of value, I don't think, but by distracting us.
Absolutely.
So, but let's talk about India, or we can come back to that. Because in India, I wasn't on my phone at all.
India just has a way of just...
It's the immersion of life.
I know.
Right? It's not the distraction from life.
Yeah.
You're immersed in like, oh, whoa. The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the profane, the divine, the abundance, the scarcity, the overwhelming, all of it.
It's the whole world in one country. It's everything in your face.
It's life itself, is what I always like to say, Jess. It is
exactly what
and I'm not saying everybody should go to India, but maybe you should.
Yeah. I went to India my first time 6 years ago. I was going through a very transformative time.
I feel like I remember that. Yes.
With like just acting and modeling. And
that's
I'm like,
right.
I don't
That's
know if
the
I
last
want
time
to
we
do
talked.
this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was just so
over
disillusioned with everything. And I'm like, I need something that's totally different from my culture. Where can I go? India. So I went to India by myself, had no itinerary, was all over the country, from the Himalayas to the south, which is very tropical. Lived in a little hippie village in Goa for a while.
Wow.
I'm like, this is life.
This is life.
This is life. So I came back to the US so depressed. Went to the Indian embassy. What's the longest visa I can get? You can get 10 years. Sign me up.
Oh, wow.
So I got 10 years. They give Americans 10 years, and you can stay up to 6 months at a time.
Oh, wow.
So I went back.
Okay.
And I have so many other stories
we're
about
going to
India,
have to talk
like
about
Bollywood. And
yes. Oh, yeah.
so many beautiful experiences with India. My heart is there. The people are just...
The people.
Like, what you posted on your Instagram, you said hi to that woman. She was on a scooter. That was so endearing.
And their love for America, right? Like the
Yes.
which is kind of romantic and idealistic, of like their view of America is, maybe my parents were immigrants and they came to America when they were in their 20s. And my dad still, even through everything, especially in the last 4 or 5 years that America has been, insurrection and, has been going through so much stuff, he still really holds to this American ideal. And it's so beautiful to see. But people who, at least in India, and I think a lot of places still believe America is that.
Yeah.
And,
It's true.
I don't want to break their bubble, but this sort of nostalgia for what it could be.
Yeah.
And maybe that is what still makes America great. But yeah, I think India is, this was my fourth time. It had been a hot minute since I had been there. And I was there filming a movie. We were just talking about the climate crisis. So I shouldn't say hot minute. That's something. No, seriously. I really am being mindful about it. I should be it was, let's have a cooling down minute yes. But I was filming a movie there and it was incredible. And I think what we shot is really beautiful. I'm excited for people to see this story. But, just interacting with people on set and the crew, but then also just in our everyday experiences there, the people are so generous and, they don't have, by Western standards, a lot. And yet they're still willing to give. And
Totally.
I know it's a generosity of spirit that I think we could learn from.
Absolutely. They're richer in so many other ways.
Yeah.
Maybe not material wise, but in so many other ways.
And I'm curious, your experience too, I do think people go there to have a spiritual connection to
Sure.
why are we here? What does it mean? What do we want our life to be about? What is purpose? How do we be more intentional? It's funny just because yesterday I was thinking, are we just talking about anything? Because so I've been in the climate space for a decade and been doing different projects about the climate space. And this movie is kind of a breakthrough for me. We shot in Greece last year, and then I self-funded it because I really believe in sort of climate storytelling, but telling climate stories in a way that hopefully inspire and help us have a better understanding of the scope of it, right? Because like most things, climate seems to be reduced to buzzy words, or we just think of it in terms of, it's getting hot, but it's so much more complicated, like all things, right?
Sure.
So anyway, we shot in Greece, we shot in India and northern Canada. We're going to Taiwan, and then we're finishing Cape Town, like I said before we aired. But where was I going with this? Oh no. What was I saying? We were talking about climate. Oh no. Sorry, I just got so about climate. Can your listener help me get back to my point? Damn it. It will come to me, I hope.
I'm a scatterbrain too.
Okay.
So don't feel bad.
You were looking at my shoes. You were like, he's talking about climate. What's he talking about? No, oh gosh, maybe our engineer. See, this is real live moments.
This is real.
This is how it works. Oh, no. See, I remember now. So yesterday I was just, because of my obsession or real focus on climate and kind of like the future we're all facing. I guess I've thought about this before, but I guess I think about it in different ways. And I was coming back from a walk yesterday. I was like, whoa, it's so interesting being American and being Western, how centered I can only speak for myself. We center ourselves as human beings in the experience of our lives. And at some level, that is what human beings do from our egoic space. But what's fascinating and scary and beautiful and weird about the climate crisis is human beings are not going to be centered in something that we keep thinking, yes, we have to solve as human beings because we've caused the crisis, but it doesn't mean that you in your centeredness are going to be spared. And it can be scary at first, but then I also think it's so important for human beings to maybe start learning we're not in control of nature.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I am not, yes, I may have more dominion because of my intellect and my power over an animal, but I'm not more important than plants and animals and nature and a butterfly. And so human beings like to center themselves in story. Sure. And to me, it's been really humbling to realize like, oh, wow, climate doesn't care about human beings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Our centering ourselves about, I don't know, however we do is not what this is about.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if that has any resonance. I don't know. You're the first person I've shared that like epiphany
Thank you.
with. But being in India, I think also does that to you because it's a country of billions of people. Yeah. So you realize like, oh, wow, I am one of millions.
Yeah.
which can
Totally.
be liberating but overwhelming at first, right?
You really feel small there.
Yeah. But also empowered in a different way.
Totally.
Right?
I feel like the earth has chakras. Like I feel like a totally different person in different parts of the world
Oh, for sure.
where I'm like, wow, who am I?
Energetics. Yeah.
Energetically,
Yeah.
there's just something going on. I do eventually want to settle in India.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to come visit.
Yes.
Okay. I thought about that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just really love it there. Maybe like in the south where
Okay.
it's tropical.
Yeah.
Open a little cafe or something.
I could totally see
Get
that.
a few holy cows.
Yeah.
And, you know.
And peacocks. I love peacocks.
Yeah.
Grrr.
Oh
I
my
won't do it
God.
really loud.
So
but
much
yeah.
life there. You know, I actually got locked down there when the pandemic
Oh, whoa.
happened.
Okay.
I was in Goa, India, and they're like, there's no more flights. You can't leave or
Oh,
go out of
wow.
the country. Come in or go out. I was like, okay.
So you really had an experience
Yeah.
there.
Trying to find food, being a foreigner, people were afraid. They thought foreigners were bringing it. There was a lot of misinformation early on. People were like, stay in, just try to get something. I'm like, I need food.
Right. Whoa.
Yeah, it was a very intense experience. But after the dust settled, people were giving me food. You know how Indians are. And
But
learned
just
a
like,
lot.
I think it's also so interesting that that happened when you were there because, again, I think all these conversations we're having are about, I think the point of travel, or I'm talking about climate stuff, or you're talking about being there at COVID or whatever, is it's just how do we have a broader perspective of our place in the cosmos,
Yeah.
right? And then when we do, I think maybe human beings become less inclined to destroy other beings, sentient beings that they see as separate from themselves.
Sure.
And I think that that's the journey of awakening that we're all on, that my life isn't more valuable than an ant's.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Or a tree. And that this integrated system, it's all connected.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do to you, I'm doing to myself.
Absolutely.
What I do to, it's really like the sacredness of it is really, I love we're going so deep. I
know.
I thought we were going to talk about like
Waking up.
influencing.
No, we are waking up to higher consciousness.
So that's, I just thought it was, has many levels. I was like, good morning, good morning. It is about waking up. It's sacred to the sacred.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally. So I want to talk
Oh,
a
good
little
segue.
bit.
Which one?
about-
Audio, visual? Oh, okay, that one first.
We'll talk about this one first. At Left Brain, Turn Right, which is a book that you. When did you write this?
Whoa, that's almost like 10 years ago.
How many
12
books
years ago.
do you have now?
This is my 5th book.
Wow!
That
Congratulations.
was my first book.
Look what you wrote to me.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Jessica, a beautiful powerhouse. You are waiting to be released.
Aww.
I am released.
You are.
Look
you
at me
were
now.
released to the world. You you really did too. Like, I think also to go and travel and do it on your own and not need a travel buddy, which is also fine, but like being brave to go to places that are, it's not like you're going to Palm Springs.
No, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to very intense places.
And to just do it, that is being released. That is stepping into our incredible connection, maybe.
It really is.
I was just saying, to just do a little like name drop, but I didn't know this, but I'm just really excited about the book because even though it's been a 10-year journey, and to any of your listeners who are creatives, like I had approached pretty much every publishing house and a lot of editors, and I was, turned down by everybody. And I was like, this is insane. I really believe in the message and the inspiration in the words, and like really helping people get more creative and having a new relationship with themselves. So I self-published, and it's been a big success. And I was saying before we went on, one of my students saw Travis Kelsey, who I didn't even know of until I'm not a football person. He has a podcast, and in the back of kind of like this, in the back of his setup, he has that book on his shelf.
Wow.
And I said, well, maybe somebody just put it there as a window dressing to make it look like he reads books. But hopefully Taylor Swift was like, you have to read this book, and because it's for creatives, but it's also for people on a spiritual journey. So that's kind of that's the intersection of, as you know, my work that I'm
Yeah.
passionate about.
It's an amazing book, and I just recently picked it up again and started reading it.
Okay.
And I'm going to read some of this.
Okay.
Who do you think you are? For me, there is only the traveling on paths that have heart. On any path that may have heart, there I travel. And the only worthwhile challenge is to traverse its full length. And there I travel, looking breathlessly. We're not our stuff, the jobs or the money we have, the cars we drive, the houses we own, the women or men we date, the titles we acquire, the awards we've won, the fortunes we've amassed, or the year we were born. So if we aren't these things, who are we? When was the last time we asked, why am I here? What's life really about? Who am I? And those are questions I'm constantly asking myself.
And that first quote was Carlos Castaneda, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I love Carlos
Powerful.
Castaneda. Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, who wrote that? Okay. I mean, Jess, I think everybody's on that path.
Yeah.
And everybody, even those people like we are frenemies,
Yeah.
or people we think aren't, or people that bring up our stuff, which is also important because the people that bring up our stuff are just a projection of our own
Absolutely.
parts of ourself that we don't like, or, need more healing around. But I guess, how do we make that a little bit more conscious? And when we do, I think you have a more, again, integrated experience of your own life, and it becomes a little bit more magical.
Yeah.
And you start taking accountability in a different way. You stop blaming people, self-victimization.
Yeah.
And I think these are questions. I think that's how we make meaning in life. Like, meaning is derived by asking these questions and then forging work around those questions.
Absolutely.
But I think some people are scared to ask them because it opens a whole Pandora's box of, again, of how we were raised. Maybe you were raised in a religious family, and that religion, said you weren't okay being who you were, or who you love, or, how you express, right? Or a political alignment, or, so I think as we start to open those things up, the foundation of how the narratives that we've been told might fall apart. And that can be scary. That's also why I think people hold on even more tightly to something that they think works for them.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I think there's a lot of people that are afraid because they've had religion used against them. So they're afraid to find God on their own.
That's right.
And I don't know how it is for you, but I feel like God is omnipresent. God is everywhere. And it's just an energy that's unexplainable. And God is when I'm doing yoga.
Right.
And I'm feeling at peace.
Right.
And God is being in the sun and just dancing and being free. These are the moments that we should just really appreciate who we are. There's no hell or this, the hell is when you are depressed.
Yeah.
And you need to find ways to get out of that. And it's easy to do in today's world.
Well, who was it that said hell is other people?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't remember who said it. Not Pablo Picasso. Somebody said it. But no, I think hell is sort of holding on to a way of thinking that makes us suffer.
Yeah.
Right? And I love what's beautiful about Namaste, and I love that you start your talks with that, is Namaste is acknowledging the divine in you. And I'm looking at your beautiful eyes and feeling soul. Like, I see the divine in you and you see the divine in me.
Absolutely.
And if we don't, also in our contact averse world we're living in, where everybody's looking down, I don't see the divine in this. I see AI in this.
I know.
I see an Amazon deal on this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
But I don't see soul. And so if we just did that.
See each other.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised if you just see someone and then smile. Yeah. 9 out of 10 times they smile back. And you're like, oh my God, human beings are so cool. If we just... But we're so scared to... I don't know that word. Also, the word God is so loaded, right? So
Yeah.
that's it. Like, look at wars are
Their fear.
caused because
Yeah.
of it. Like, you
Absolutely.
have a different name for God than I do, and then all of a sudden, your God is right and righteous, and mine is wrong, and you're going to heaven because of yours, and I'm going to hell. I
Yeah.
mean, oh my gosh, it's so binary.
Absolutely.
And that is also part of nowhere in nature is there binaryism, if that's a word.
Yeah.
It's multi complex. I'm making up my own words here, but you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
it's diverse and flowing with, I mean, like, how many different kinds of bird species are there? If you just think about like 10,000, like, if
Absolutely.
you think about the multiplicity of nature and life and how human beings reduce things to, it's so reductive to put you here and me here so that I have power over you, or you are perceived more than me. And so I think when we ask these questions, you have to start squaring your own prejudices, phobias.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're always so positive
Aw.
and uplifting. And
I don't know, you should see me.
I want to ask you, what do you do when you feel down?
You know, I don't get too down. I get a bit. Let me just, can I breathe for 1 second? I think when I get really, like, I feel it right now, like when I think about the future of the planet, I get really heartbroken about it.
Yeah.
But I don't feel down about it. I feel like such a sense of urgency and activism. You know, there's a saying in climate circles, and I think this could be applied to anything in life nowadays, is like, we don't need more hope in life, we need more courage. And I think hope is such a, I love the word hope, but I also can see how people can use the word hope as a form of denialism. Like, when we face things in life that we're really up against, a war, a genocide, a climate crisis, a political system, you don't need hope to get through it, because hope can make people be inert. They're waiting for somebody else to do something.
Sure.
You guys, we can't wait. You are the possibility for a change. And I think sometimes everybody thinks, well, I'm just me. How can I make a change? But it's what you were talking about. It's going to yoga class and smiling to somebody. It's going to yoga class. It's being mindful of how we send out energy into the world. Or if I'm driving and I lose my shit, because I do, I'm not saying I'm perfect, or like I lose my shit with somebody who does like an asshole move in front of me.
Yeah.
Like, how do I use that as to not react and learn how to give that person
Absolutely.
the benefit of a doubt, right? And so I guess I don't lose hope, because I always feel just like, oh, I don't know.
I know.
I'm always just so amazed that with so many billions of people on the planet, how somehow it kind of works.
Yeah, I know.
It's not working so well for some people today, but overall, I always have this motto that things are always kind of working out. And I don't mean that from a place of privilege, although it's easy for me to say that from a place of privilege. But
Sure.
if each listener here just kind of tracks their own life, and I have a real big belief in that even the things that fall apart are there for us to create a new solution or possibility. Like, I don't think the earth is supposed to be conflict free. So that's kind of, I'm not trying to plug my new book, Unstuck, but I think the point about the configuration of life is it is conflict inducing. Even in nature competes, animals, plants, the insect world is competing against each other for resources, right? But within that comes a system that helps create new life. And I think sometimes for human beings, we, in working with artists and creatives, anybody who's on here who wants to do a podcast or something, and we think, oh, that's already been done. Jessica's doing that. I don't have an idea for a podcast, or I want to write a book, or be my own engineer and create my own, podcast studio or whatever. We start to doubt that based on comparing and listening to the stuff that's in our way.
Yeah.
And I think the stuff that's in our way is there for us to overcome it.
Absolutely.
It's made you who you are. It's made me who I am.
I feel like, given the current climate of the planet, there's just like a lot of sadness, and I get it. But being a creative, I was doubting myself, like, should I really be starting a podcast?
Oh, I'm so
during
glad
this
you
time?
did.
You know? And I'm like, the world
Needs
needs
it.
more love. What am I supposed to do? Is just sit in front of the news and just be depressed all day?
No.
I
Yeah.
want to inspire people. Everything that we're talking about is just very inspiring. Maybe people will go to India after they listen to this episode and just really discover who they are, because it's a place that just does that. So I feel like as a creative, and this is to all my creatives that maybe doubt themselves, especially some people that moved to LA and tried it and had to like go back home. You are a success if you had the balls to come to LA and pursue an acting career.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
That
Or
takes
whatever it
guts.
is, a writing
Anything.
career, a podcast career, anywhere. Anybody who goes somewhere to create something is like you're already doing it.
Yeah.
Just because it doesn't look like we thought it was supposed to look like, even for the most famous people, it still doesn't look the way.
Absolutely.
It's never going to, our imagination of something isn't going to be the reality of it. And it's great to have an imagination. That's such a creative, intentional part of being human, but not letting yourself beat yourself up when the pictures don't quite look,
Yeah.
because it's never going to look like that.
It's tough being a creative. I had this show actually like around 10 years ago when I was taking classes with you, and I was up to like 8 episodes, and I just was going through a lot, and I just stopped doing it and deleted it.
Oh, wow.
But I'm not going to do that.
But wait, just wait. I want to address, like, why do you think it's tough about being a creative?
The highs and the lows.
Yeah. You know, I think like the older I get, what's tough too is that everybody wants to create because they, again, want to be heard, they want to be seen, and they want their stuff to be acknowledged.
Absolutely.
Because I think most people are doing stuff aspirationally.
Yeah.
Right? And so I get it. We want the feedback from other people, but I think it becomes less tough when you do it for yourself first. Just like
Absolutely.
you're doing it
Yeah.
this way. And that's not a selfish act. It's actually an altruistic act, because you felt like, I want to do a podcast because I feel like I have things to talk about and to uplift. And by doing it, it's like what's the saying? Like a rock thrown in a pond and ripples
Yes.
outward, right? And so the act may feel somewhat selfish, but if it's done specifically and committedly, it becomes a universal act.
Totally.
And so I think creatives need to keep doing things for themselves.
Yeah.
I always say, create the thing you wish existed. So you wanted to do a podcast, and now it's
Yeah.
existed in this form.
Yeah.
And here I am. And then, but that's how it happens.
Absolutely.
I think we think that there's some magic pill to getting something done, and it's an idea, and then moving forward with the idea.
Yeah.
The problem is we listen to people who say, that's a bad idea.
Absolutely.
That's dumb. That's been done before.
Like, just for me, like, just thinking of like going back and auditioning and stuff, I get so much like anxiety.
Oh,
I'm like,
wow,
I don't know if I can do it. I'm like, I just want to do my own thing. I want to do my own podcast. I want to travel, make travel blogs, and I'm all right. But I would like to talk a little bit
let's
about
talk.
acting.
Okay, yes.
How many studios do you have now?
Well, I mean, through the journey, I've had 10 schools all over the world.
Wow.
Technically 11.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's been pretty I don't know, beautiful, blessing. Some of them are on pause still post-COVID. Like, some of them have become a little bit more loose in terms of, we're really living in an interesting new world now, coming out of COVID and now a strike. But yeah, like, I mean, I just was at our London school. I'm going to our Sydney school.
Wow.
New York. I was just at our New York school, Vancouver, Copenhagen. I mean, it's a blessing. Yeah.
It really is. Funny story, when I was taking classes, do you remember Brent? Brent was my teacher.
Okay, yeah.
And we were doing this scene, and he was just like, you can't get angry. Like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know, I guess too much spiritual work.
Right,
And
right.
he gave me this really intense scene. He's like, I want you to like
Lose your shit.
go to the dollar store and buy like 30 ceramic plates, and I'm going to have you just fucking flip
Break them.
out and throw them. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I can do that, So I did it, came back next week with like 30 plates, and I was just lining them across the stage, and it did help me a little, but I just don't know if that was for me. I'm not a very dramatic person like that,
Right.
but it was fun.
I had a student one time, I think Brent was in that class maybe, but I had a student, she's on she shall remain nameless. She's amazing, but she's on a show. But I was trying to get her, she was really incredible, but she always would default to being nice.
Yeah.
And, but I remember I was like, okay, I'm going to bring plates next week, and and it was a scene it was from a Broadway play called The Goat, where the wife is tearing up the house anyway, like she's turning everything upside down, throwing a couch, blah blah blah. So we can recreate that by throwing plates. But every time I was like, Allison, throw a plate, she would just toss it on the couch.
Oh my God.
Instead of it going and her living in
Yeah.
the opening of it being broken open. And I think you have, I'm sure, experienced this, though. I think it's more about being broken is open.
Yeah.
A broken heart is an open heart. Something, in this book, one of the books, I don't know which book. No, it's a different book of mine. I talk about the art of kintsugi. And kintsugi, or wabi-sabi, is the ancient Japanese art where if I break a mug, a teacup, instead of throwing it out because it's discarded, I see the inherent value of a broken thing, and then I use like gold enamel to put it together. And the gold, the scars, if you will, the broken pieces aren't trying to be hidden; they're illuminated to show the beauty, to magnify the beauty of what we go through. Right, the broken part. It's beautiful. Yeah. Wabi-sabi. So I'm always saying, wabi-sabi your life. Let your life be an art of kintsugi.
Yeah.
And I think just that's the challenge of being an artist, but you're doing it. Some people maybe realize like the art form of acting can maybe be a little bit more stimulating in a dramatic way, but to be on a podcast and share yourself is the same. It's just manifesting slightly differently.
Totally.
Being a poet is the same. Being an artist, everybody in the world doing things is at some level expressing their inner in an outer way. It's just not always as dramatic.
Yeah.
Save the drama for the stage is what I'm always telling actors. But
absolutely.
But I think you're doing it. And also I always think everybody should take an acting class because it does help connect them.
It helps you in so many ways.
Yes.
Whether it's public speaking, just interacting with people.
That's right. Being connected, being here, having your feelings, telling the truth.
Yep.
Compassion, empathy.
Yep.
I always swear I'm going to go to Congress. I'm going to make people across the aisle. I'm going to teach them an acting class. Can you imagine?
You would be an amazing politician, by the way.
You know what? I've been thinking about that lately. Okay, I need your donations.
Yeah.
I might play. I'm going to start. I know. I was like, would I start like with the Hollywood district? Because I live in Hollywood, like the community board. I don't know. I have thought about it.
May have a future.
I have thought about it. It's weird that you're saying that. I don't know.
People
hate politicians because
That's
you know
the
what?
thing. You're hated on either side. It doesn't matter.
I know, but also to me, really good politicians are civil servants because they're really doing it because they want to support the community. But we've completely lost that connection to it now because
totally. They're bought and paid for.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's the problem with politics. Yeah.
I mean, if you look at what just happened with Congress, only 10 voted not for ceasefire.
Right.
10.
Oh, right. Yes.
So
I was like, which congressional thing are you talking about? Because every day there's a new
I know.
Oh my gosh.
So I wanted to ask, since I haven't been in the loop as far as acting goes.
Yeah.
What is it like now? If people want to act, should they move to LA or New York or?
Good question. I think yes. Any of the cities we have a school, we should move to. No, I mean, I do think New York is still an epicenter. London, LA. Atlanta has a hub. We have a school in Atlanta. I do think you have to, because of COVID, people act online, and we do have an online program, and you can learn.
Oh, wow. But
however, I think to me, to act is to be a part of the community. And I think LA and New York and London, those three cities to me especially, are such a creative
vortex.
Yeah. Where you're meeting people who do podcasts and people who write books and people who engineer and people who are musicians, and you just get caught up in the can-do spirit. Sure. So I think, it's hard to be an actor in Missouri.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can't.
Yeah.
I also think for me as an artist, when I was young, I moved to New York, And then, I went to London, then I moved to New York, lived in New York for a while, and then I moved to LA. And I do think every young artist should live in New York and then live in LA, or vice versa. I think you want to live in one of these cities that is kind of a heartbeat of art.
Sure.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like people will ask me, like, how do I start acting? I'm like, well, move to LA.
Yeah.
Get yourself
Get into a
enrolled in an
class.
acting class. That way you're
heard it
around.
here.
Okay. Anthony Meindl, acting
I'll give you my book for free.
Come to LA and be around other creatives.
That's right.
Get some headshots done. Start submitting.
Yeah.
Voila.
Yeah, it's really inspiring.
It's
I think
very
we
simple.
overthink it, right?
Yeah.
It's really like put one foot in front of the
Yeah.
other. That's from a Christmas special. Is it too soon to be singing Christmas songs? Oh my gosh.
No, they're already setting
I was
up
gonna
Christmas
say-
at the Grove.
Oh,
I was
wow.
just there, so.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah,
Also,
like-
Mariah Carey, I think, like everybody
The
starts
Hollywood
listening to
Bowl.
her songs
Yeah.
now, like November 1st. Anyway,
She's doing a concert at the Hollywood Bowl November 19th.
are you serious?
Yeah, I just saw the
Her
billboard.
new
I'm
Christmas album. She's got a new album coming
Yeah,
out.
I was like, oh my God. But not, I like the old school
Okay, yeah.
Mariah.
Yeah, you just do it. And then I think the hows kind of become the wows when you just start. I know this sounds so... Sometimes I hear myself, the hows become the wows. But it's true. You don't know how to do a podcast and then you do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to write a book and I do it. Didn't know how to teach an acting class. You just learn. You learn by doing. You don't learn by sitting on the playground side.
You can watch all the
bleachers.
tutorials you want, but
No.
you
It's
actually just have
experiential.
to do it.
That's right.
You know, when I started travel blogging, I had no idea what I was doing.
That's right.
I would just hold the camera and just talk to it. And luckily I had that as an actor. I knew how
Personality and use yourself. Yeah.
and, you know, talk to and tell the story. So all those tools were very useful for travel blogging and this. But I didn't really know how to edit. And then I started becoming an editor and a producer
Okay,
and all this
see?
stuff. And I'm like, you can just make it work. If you really want to do something, you can just make
Do
it
it.
work. Just say yes.
That's right.
And the universe will just guide you step
That's right.
by step.
People come into your life. Now, I mean, this is so cool. I mentioned this to you. I was just thinking of you. I swear to goodness, when you then, like minutes later, had DM'd me. Or you had DM'd me before I actually saw something, and I think I posted something on your page. But then when I got your DM, it was before I had even
Wow.
posted. Yeah,
That is trippy.
But that's what I love about it.
Synchronicity.
I know
It's the
really.
synchronicity.
I know.
There's magic in this
Yeah.
world. If you're either in tune, you're either in tune with it or you're not.
Well, some people would call it coincidence, but coincidence is still, the word coincidence is two or more events coinciding at the same time.
Yeah.
So even that definition, if you look at it a little bit more scientifically, is still something kind of magical about it. Like
Totally.
our events had to coincide at the same time for us to get the message. Now, some
Absolutely.
people could be like, well, yeah, it was Instagram, DM, but still, like, what if I didn't check your DM? What if I hadn't even thought about you?
Absolutely.
I think there is something to be said about, I'm not going to get all woo-woo, but I do good tarot readings. I really do. But
You
no.
have to give me one day.
Oh, yeah, I have to have my cards. I should have brought my cards. But where was I going with this? Just about how there is something to be said when you have more of a meditative practice or a silent practice. This is why I also think this is dangerous, because it's constantly filling us.
Sure.
But if you fill yourself with self and higher self, you can start to tune in to, you get other information. It's not
Absolutely.
woo-woo. It's kind of like, whoa.
Absolutely.
I just made that up.
Absolutely. And so many things like
kinda
that
love it.
happen to me where I'm like, oh my God, is this really happening? All right.
But Jazz, I think this is that's our real being. And people only call it woo-woo because we're so separated from it. And, can I tell you, I read this book during COVID that blew my mind. It was called Kindred, I believe. There's a few different kindreds, but this kindred was about our Neanderthal cousins.
Wow.
It was all about Neanderthals. It's Neanderthal, by the way, not Neanderthal. And how, when people, so there was a Republican congressman the other day who said something like, that's Neanderthal. And I was like, dude, you don't even understand what you're saying, because Neanderthals are thought of, the historical narrative is they were dumb, they were like, ugh. I'm going to hit you over the head, and I'm going to, like that kind of dumb, reductive. They were actually sophisticated. They were artists. They're the first known creating art on cave walls. They had a very complex actual system of artifacts and ways of creating early tools. They took care of their own. It's interesting that they disappeared. How did they disappear? It's when hominids, meaning Homo sapiens, we killed them basically. So that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But anyway, when I was listening to this story, because I was listening to it on Audible, I felt like I was back in Neanderthal times. And in funny side fact, I was so obsessed with them. I'm on 23andMe, and I went and looked at, there's a genetic marker that shows how much Neanderthal you have. And most people have 2% Neanderthal. And then there's a very small percentage of people who have a little bit more than 2%. I'm one of those.
Oh, wow.
So I really felt a connection to Neanderthals. But the point of this long, boring, cricket story is the ending of the book was talking about how Neanderthals were so in touch with nature, and nature is universe, nature is divinity, nature is messaging or telekinesis, telegraphic, whatever these words are, intuition, that they would move with, they could almost, they move with seasons, they move with climate, they move with nature, they moved with animals, they moved with the flow of life. And it was almost as if they could tell when the prey that they were hunting would make a right turn. Wow. They would be there to intercept it. And so the point about that is we come from nature, we are nature. And so how do we get back to attuning to that which is in us? We're just so distracted. The robot part of us is so taking over that we don't realize, there's something so much more sacred trying to show us this way. Come this way. Listen to me here.
Absolutely.
So sorry. That was like I love the Neanderthals.
That was powerful.
It's a beautiful book. If you're into paleontology, and I'm so into it.
Wow.
I'm into our history is so interesting when you...
Yeah.
Like, who are we? We've only been on the planet, like human beings, for like 10,000 years. I mean, like, it's like, civilization in terms of human beings forming their first civilizations 10,000 years ago. I mean, we've been on the planet for what? 250,000 years, something like that. But it's nothing in the whole scope of planetary existence, right? Billions of years.
What am I doing here? What is this place?
I know.
Is this real?
No, it's not. Is Target real? No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is Christmas real? Hate to break it to you, it's made up.
Just
I kind of love it though.
Consumeristic holiday.
I know, yeah. I'm always saying it's all made up.
Yeah.
Everybody's time is made up.
Absolutely.
Time was made
such
up.
An illusion.
Yeah. And I get it. To make a civilized world work in a civilized way, they had to create a structure, a timetable, so that we could move commerce, move goods, move people, move lifestyle. Absolutely. I get it. But we don't quite have the bandwidth to see, maybe that I'm more than that.
Absolutely. Well, we have a few more minutes left.
Okay,
Can you tell us about your new book?
Well, I have a new book out. Look, a shameless plug. I'll put it in front of my face.
Unstuck.
It's called Unstuck. And it's just about how when we get stuck in life, the stickiness is there to help you get to the next level. It's not there to thwart you. It's not there to try to tell you you're doing something wrong, you're untalented, you can't do it. It's actually so encoded that your future success comes from the present challenges. I think people get down on themselves. Young people especially, I think, suffer from anxiety around giving up because they see a roadblock as a sign that they shouldn't do it. It's not a sign. Go around it. Go through it. Bury underneath it. Find another way. And use the hardships. It's like things are not happening to you, they're happening for you. But you have to get past the two part to realize this is all an offering for me. So that's what the book is about. It's just really short chapters about... I have a big chapter about imposter syndrome because young people use that all the time. You're not an imposter. Nobody here is an imposter. Or we all are imposters. I sometimes think that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But make it work for you. That's just some tech made it up. Those tech bros. I hope you don't have a tech bro audience.
No.
Like pivot, all these words that they use.
Yeah.
It's made up.
Absolutely. Can we find the book on Amazon?
Oh, everywhere. Everywhere good books are sold. Mostly Amazon.
Rad. Thank you so much for
Thanks for
coming on my
being
show.
here. Yeah.
What I really love about you, Anthony, is that I'm not taking classes at your studio anymore, but you're still supportive of me.
Oh, of course.
Like,
I love you.
it's been so long,
I'm
and
honored.
when I asked you to come on, you were like, yeah, talk to my assistant for
I was
scheduling, and I'm
honored
like,
I asked.
this was
I knew we'd have a
beautiful.
cool talk.
This was so uplifting, and it's exactly what the planet needs right now. So let me just say this. If you're a creative, do not fear or feel like you're doing something bad if you want to create during these times. Get the book.
Any of
and
my books. Yeah, they will really help support you.
meet us in LA.
That's right. Let's have a cafe au lait.
Totally.
Thanks for having me. I had so much fun. I feel like I can do anything. I'm going to walk out of here being like, I got the world by the... And then as the day goes on, I'm going to be like, oh my God, do I? And then, you just have to readjust. You
Get
do.
a coffee or something.
You got this, Or meditation or
Totally.
Nature. Can I just say one last parting thing? We just have to take care of nature. We just have to. Just little things. That's all I'm
What are
encouraging.
little things that we can do?
I mean, I just think, I know it sounds cliche, plant a tree. Like you can really, just small things you could do. Create a community garden. Make more of a place for biodiversity in your own backyard. Get rid of, do research in wherever you're from to go back to native plants. Like little things like that do make a huge difference. Ultimately it's corporations and not trying to make anybody feel guilty about our lifestyle, because it's about corporations and big oil that aren't taking responsibility. But we can locally, you can make a difference.
So,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Tony. And
Thanks for having me.
See you around La La
Namaste.
Land.
Okay,
Namaste.